Hello and welcome to my brand new series. This is volume 1, and it will be a series of very personal, diarized stories, reflections, examples, and me sharing some knowledge that will be listed and uploaded onto my Patreon. So if you have found me on Patreon, welcome and thank you. If you are listening to this upload for the first time on YouTube, please know that over time I will be moving across to Patreon specifically for videos and Q&As and uploads just like this. That will be a lot more on the heavier duty side. So if you're new, welcome, thank you. If you would like to book me for an astrological chart reading, you can do that. Just go to my website and you can do that. So I'm not going to bore you with details like this, but what I am going to do is begin a new series talking about casting spells. Casting something out into the world, casting a net of your intention out into the abyss, into the world, into the clouds, over something, out there to get something. Okay? So this will be a series that will kind of go wherever it goes. And because it's going to be over a series of uploads, this is now your opportunity, your chance to reach out with your questions for me about this or anything to do with the dark arts, metaphysics, and the spiritual world. So no love taps, no stupid questions, no dumb questions that you could easily answer on, find on the internet. This is real stuff. Okay, so that's why I am putting it behind a Patreon paywall, because this level of knowledge and my experiences needs to be safeguarded from public hands. So that being said, I'm going to talk about what it means being a wizard. What the hell is this? Like what the actual fuck? What is a witch? What is a wizard? For me, I cannot speak on behalf of a woman because I have a dick and I am a male witch. I prefer the term wizard or occultist over the word witch. Witch would imply woman, and I am not a woman, okay? So it's very important for me to also understand that as a male practitioner of the spiritual summoning of the spiritual world, as a medium of the spiritual world, as an astrologer of the spiritual world, as a spellcaster, and someone who performs rituals and readings, that I understand that I will never know what it's like to have a baby in my body. I will never know what it's like to bring life into this world, because I am not born of a woman, in the form of a woman. And I know that I cannot change my form. No one can. No one actually can change. I want you to take that off the table. The core nature of a human is that of what it will be. And your core nature is your soul contract of what you agreed to when you incarnated here in this three-dimensional world. There are many other dimensions and levels of consciousness and levels of world beyond this world. But for the daily grind world that you're in right now, the form that you're in, it will be either XX or XY chromosomes, and that's it. So even though I am a spellcaster and I am an advanced one at that, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been burned. I've been dragged across the coals. I've had to learn the hard way, like, you have to fucking learn the hard way. I've come to a point where I know that all of the things that have gone terribly wrong and all of the things that have gone terribly right were also part of a bigger picture. And I operate within the same framework as you do, as any of us do. If we're here, we're operating in the physical framework. So there are hermetic principles which govern the physical world. But this can be manipulated, however. It can be shifted through our projection and through rituals and our intention, our energy focus, our psychology, and the mind, our behavioral way of being. This is all connected, right? So when people don't take responsibility for their life and it's always someone else's fault, it's their mother because she was overbearing, or their dad was absent, or, this happened to them as a kid. I have a lot of sympathy to some capacity with this type of thing because I've been through this as well. But as an adult, I've had to grow the fuck up and understand that no one is coming to save me. No one has my back the way that I need to. And I've had to adapt and understand that although I'm not responsible for what happened to me, however, I am responsible for the repair and the fixing of it within myself. And there's no way around it. All right, there's two mindsets. And I want you to understand something before I start and really get into this series. There are no shades of gray when it comes to spiritual paths. If you're entering into something, the deeper that you go into that aspect of something, the weaker the protection or influence you will have from its opposite. All right, that's why I've been very honest about this. Okay, you cannot be both. Polarity is polarity for a reason. So when we come to working with magic in the left-hand path, we are manipulating the source of Yahweh, the source of God within us. And that is ultimately what the left-hand path is. It is you putting yourself at the top of the food chain. You are saying, I am a God. And that's why a lot of people that are very damaged come to this path, because they are seeking real results and knowledge. Okay, and their deities or their angels or their Jesus, whoever has failed them, has not listened to them, and they feel helpless and powerless. And that is why a lot of people come to this path, the dark path, because they want power, they want knowledge, they feel powerless. Totally understandable. But we have to understand that divine timing governs all. And we are working with forces way beyond a human's comprehension, way beyond my comprehension. I have to have a lot of respect for this. So I also have to know that I don't know everything and I don't know what I don't know, but I know enough to know that this is my path. It was me being born this way to do this. And there are many people that follow this path that are not actually truly authentic to it. They are more interested in the aesthetic of it, or they're, trying to look tough, or they're trying to look like a goth or an emo, or they're trying to be some hard ass that they're fucking not. All right? But the ones that have been on this path for a long time, they're authentic. Okay? They've been around. They understand a ritual. They understand the level of effort that's involved. And this is all effort-based. The will of your effort, or the power of your effort, comes from your will. If you have a very weak self-concept, if you have a very weak mind that is easily persuaded, that is following along like the non-playing character world that you're living in with everyone else, going to work, coming home, growing old and dying and getting your retirement check, then this isn't going to be for you. It's not going to work. You're not going to get results, real results. And real results, like anything, require sacrifice. They require time and dedication and effort. And the most important word that comes up when I think of magical working isn't just discipline, it's consistency. You have to be fucking consistent, all right? There is nothing more common than an occultist that just does a little spell, burns a fucking candle, puts on some amulets, burns a little charcoal disc in their little baby cauldron, and then, oh, well, it doesn't work. It didn't work for me. How long have you been doing this? How long have you been bowing your head and surrendering to the dark current? It is like anything else. The longer that you do it, the neural pathways in your brain will start to adapt, will start to grow, will start to build. It's a muscle, all right? So in the witch world, in the spiritual world, this is primal. We are talking about the real thing: blood, cum, piss, energy, frequencies. Okay, that is nature. That is the natural world. Big animals eat little animals all of the time. That is part of nature. You are part of nature. All right, it runs through you. All right, there are currents of energies and frequencies which run through the trees, which run through aspects of crystals and rocks and plants and minerals. And of course, you. In your bones, you have crystallization in your bones. You have a pineal gland that has crystals in it that can be calcified. All right, so there is so many rabbit holes and pathways I could go down in these chats. That's why I'm not going to put a limit on this new series. I will continue uploading videos in this series until I feel that I've given you a very strong and real foundation of my knowledge. And that is why you are paying for it if you're on Patreon right now. And it has to be that way because fair is fair, fair and square, okay? So for me personally, after just giving you a premises and a good foundation in this first volume of myself, moving from Victoria, from cold Melbourne, from cold little old country Victoria, and coming across the Nullarbor Desert all the way over to Perth, it has been a huge shock to my system, to my energies, to the frequencies within me. Obviously, souls live in different places, and souls and different frequencies of living beings vibrate and attract and incarnate into places. So there is a very strong aspect to astrology, which is called astropsychology, but also astrocartography, which means that yes, there are ways for us to figure out where your soul, where you will actually be most suited to on the equator lines of this planet, of this earth. Okay, so there are websites that can do this type of calculation for you. This is not something, however, that I'm very much interested in because it's so straightforward and elementary. You can do it yourself for free. But yeah, so when you move to a different location, if you are spiritual, it is going to take quite a bit of time for you to recalibrate and readjust to the frequencies that you're in. The water will be different. The air will be different. The people will be different. The frequencies of the ancestors, of those that came before us, everything around you will be different. And so I have been personally in this space of readjusting, a space of repositioning myself and coming across and living right on the edge of the beach, of the edge of Australia, in a very beautiful place, right on the edge of the Indian Ocean. I am now seeing that I have become somewhat of a sea witch, the archetype of a mystic that embodies the sea, that embodies the current of the ocean, the mysteries of the sea. I have more understanding now personally that I am more of a sea witch archetype in a male. I used to be very much about like the pine forest and shamanism. I am still very shamanic in my practice and how I see the world. But this new aspect of coming here and moving to this area has awakened another side to myself, which I hadn't seen before. And so it was just after going for walks every day along the sea and just doing simple things like channeling, meditating, breathing in the sea, the energy of this powerful force. The water and the sea is where all life came from. It is the oldest and most ferocious and enduring substance or frequency on the planet. The sea has mysteries, and it is the embodiment of life and fertility and destruction within itself. And being close to the sea has been very healing. I myself am a very strong swimmer. I used to be a national swimmer. When I say national, I mean like I was at a level where in my late teens, I was qualifying for Commonwealth Games trials. So my life was always around swimming, being in the river, spending up to 4 hours a day in the ocean or in the beach, and I had no fear. I am a little bit weird in that way. I don't fear the occult. I do not fear the spiritual world. I'm fascinated by it. I study it. I love it. I embrace it. I invite it into myself. Okay, I do not reject the spiritual world. So as a kid, as a little baby wizard, I would swim out very far into the sea when no one was watching. And like if my mum or dad saw that, they would freak out because it was so far out. I could have drowned. A shark could have got me quite easy. It could have been a disaster. But I had no fear because I felt a current of frequency from the ocean. Like I wanted to be a mermaid, right? I just did. I wanted a mermaid tail. You're probably looking at this thumbnail on this podcast now and looking at it going, what the fuck? Yes, I have a merman tail. So my reference as I'm getting older now is I am a merman, astro, witch, fucking wizard daddy, all right? Just for fun and giggles. But that's what it is. At some point, I will move more into my 12th house and live a very isolated life away from the mainstream, from the people. The energy and the frequency of the people is heading into the age of Aquarius. And so the age of the witch, the age of the mystic is dying. So real mysticism is fading away and it will be erased. I'm already seeing an attack on it right now, which I will discuss at great length. If you've seen this, put these comments below. Let me know. Tell me what you're seeing and what you're feeling.